The Rainbow Dance. Quote, "You have your eyes, and you have your ears. Look with your eyes on the things of nature. Hear with your ears what goes on in nature. The spirit reveals itself through color and through tone. And as you look and listen, you cannot help feeling how it reveals itself in these." End of quote. Rudolf Steiner. On the radio, the question was asked recently, quote, "What is truth?" End of quote. A physical scientist replied, quote, "Truth is only that which can be evidenced through sensory perception." End quote. How blind and benighted can man be? All nature is striving to reveal to one something of the wondrous miracles which they are surrounded. Yet one is content to live in the narrow prison house of their five senses. To such a one would suggest a careful perusal of the words written by that eminent occult scientist Rudolf Steiner, as he describes to his pupil the inner workings of the rainbow. Quote, "People gaze open-eyed at the rainbow, but if you look at the rainbow with a little imagination, you may see there elemental beings. These elemental beings are full of activity and demonstrate it in a very remarkable manner. Here, at yellow, you see some of them streaming forth from the rainbow, continually coming away out of it. They move across, and the moment they reach the lower end of the green, they are drawn to it again. To one who views it with imagination, the whole rainbow manifests a streaming out of spirit and a disappearing of it again within. It is like a spiritual dance, in very deed a spiritual waltz, wonderful to behold. And you may observe, too, how these spiritual beings come forth from the rainbow with terrible fear, and how they go in with invincible courage. When you look at the red-yellow, you see fear streaming out, and when you look at the blue-violet, you have the feeling there is all courage and bravery of heart." Quote, "Now picture to yourself, there before me is no mere rainbow. Beings are coming out of it and disappearing into it. Here, anxiety and fear. There, courage and bravery. And now, here the rainbow receives a certain thickness, and you would be able to imagine how this gives rise to the element of water. In this watery element, spiritual beings live, beings that are actually a kind of copy of the beings of the third hierarchy." End quote. All the manifestations of color which occur in both the inner and outer realms of this earthly planet are under the supervision and direction of the three great hierarchies, namely Sagittarius, the lords of the mind; Capricorn, the archangels; Aquarius, the angels. Evidently, the poet Robert Browning had developed some of his extended faculties which enabled him to penetrate into the inner realm when he wrote, "Only the prism obstruction shows aright the secret of the sunbeam, breaks its light into the jeweled bow for blanket white, so may a glory from defect arise." Lumina, a new art form. During the last few decades, a number of instruments have been invented for the purpose of synchronizing color and tone. Among the most successful of these inventions is that of Mr. Thomas Wilfred, named the clavelo. Many persons reading these lines will recall the pleasurable interest with which they attended the clavelo concert. The following account descriptive of Mr. Wilford's work is taken by permission from the August 1962 issue of the Journal of Borderland Research. The Journal of Borderland Research. A complete new form of art called Lumina has been created for the reception room of the Clairol's New York office, 666 Fifth Avenue, by Mr. Thomas Wilfred. Moving colors are projected on a 10-foot screen to give the illusion of an abstract painting being created in space. As the tints and shapes swirl through a predetermined series of patterns, the vivid colors, slowly moving across and through the screen, is combination with more delicate hues, create an unusual visual experience which may be watched for seconds, minutes, or hours. The procession of color constellation is set to run for 1 year, 34 weeks, 22 hours, and 10 minutes, and then start all over again and exactly repeat the composition. The, quote, light mobile, end quote, is called Study in Depths, Opus 152. Mr. Wilford previously created 151 compositions. These other works are in the Museum of Modern Art, Metropolitan Museum of Art, San Francisco Museum, and many in private collections. The Clairol Luma, the composition is the largest and will run the longest, and is the first in an office. A recorded Lumia composition of 1955, gift of Mr. and Mrs. Julius Stolman to the Museum of Modern Art, New York City, is of interest. Lumia, the art of light, was developed by Thomas Wilfred, who experimented for years during the first quarter of the century. In 1921, he completed his clavelo, an instrument consisting of a number of powerful projectors with an organ-like keyboard controlling the form, color, and motion projected on a large white screen. In 1922, in New York, Wilfred performed his first Lumia recital on the clavelo, and for 20 years thereafter, he gave clavelo recitals throughout the United States, Canada, and Europe. In 1930, he founded the Art Institute of Light for the study and further development of this new medium. The Institute maintained laboratories and recital halls in New York until the war years. Thomas Wilfred continues his work in Lumia, creating new compositions and recording them for automatic repetition in instruments such as, quote, aspiration, end quote, as shown at the Museum of Modern Art. The artist describes this work as a theme with 397 variations. The form and color cycles are so different in duration. Thus, every time the form cycle repeats, it does so with a different color treatment, a near coincidence every 2 hours and 32 minutes. The entire composition has a duration of 42 hours, 14 minutes, and 11 seconds. Of Lumia, the art of light, Mr. Wilfred says, quote, man has built with stone, carved with marble, painted with ground pigments, blown through reeds, plucked strings, sung, danced, written, and spoken. Thus, our 7 fine arts have grown along with our civilization. Their tools and media were both simple and close at hand. One medium, however, defined man's hardest attempts: light, the greatest natural force our senses can grasp, the source and maintainer of all life and growth. Mr. Wilford continues, quote, "But with the advent of electricity, a way opened up, and now a great new epoch begins in aesthetics. An 8th major art form has been born to join the accepted 7, the art of light. It has been named Lumina. Here light is the artist's sole medium of expression. He must mold it by optical means, almost as a sculptor models in clay. He must add color and finally motion to his creation." End quote. Mr. Wilford continues, quote, "Motion, the time dimension, demands that one must be a choreographer in space, a dancer by proxy, whose body is weightless and may assume any desired shape. This one accomplishes by manipulating sliding forms, color, and motion keys on the organ-like console of a clavelo instrument. A special notation system is used. The key actuate optical combinations in a battery of powerful projection, the result showing on a large white screen." End quote. Mr. Wilford continues, quote, "The Lumia composer may also record one's work for automatic repetition in a self-contained cabinets resembling television sets. The artist's aim is to transform the screen into a large window looking out on infinite space, an imaginary stage of astronomical dimensions, and to perform on this stage a silent visual music of form, color, and motion." Quote, "Further information can be obtained from Thomas Wilford at West Nyack, New York." End of quote.